Back in your life. What up, Ricky?
We are so back.
Guys, happy Wednesday. We are back with round 2 of the Midweek Machamps. And I'm in a little bit of a different location here. I'm traveling on the East Coast for Charlotte Collecticon. But, you won't be able to see any of my cool Pokemon background, but we're going to make it work and still have a good time tonight. Let's just dive right in, man. Like, I know 2 weeks ago, we had a ton of fun. And we waxed very, very wise and talked a lot about the finer topics of, the psychological, things we go through when collecting and what we learned going through the process of really learning a lot about the Pokemon card hobby. This week, we're going to be talking in general about this upcoming Mega Generation, how excited we are, what we are expecting, what we are hoping for. So I'm really excited for that.
Me too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a bit of a prepared agenda too this time. We've got some nicely named sections. Do you want to go through some of those?
Yeah. As we kind of planned for originally when we planned to do this program, we came up with a lot of names for what it could be. And some of those names we use for titles, and some names we have turned into segments. So we are now going to have some segments of the program. One of them that you guys can look forward to, we're going to get into the tall grass on some things. We're going to go over some Hitmon topics today, maybe give you a Gyarados of reality, something like that. And I know it's a little bit pun intended, but we're really going to enjoy it. The first stream, we had a good time. But again, the structure of today, we're going to be going into some traditional topics that we're going to cover, like additions to our personal collection or deals that we've done recently. And then we'll get into some of that other stuff. So maybe we dive right into a recent personal collection item, or maybe it doesn't have to be recent, Ricky. Maybe just share off, a little show and tell time. We want to start off the stream usually talking about kind of a collection piece, so we don't always just kind of dive deep into market talk and the value of certain items.
Yeah.
So let's look at maybe a piece of your personal collection and start from there, man.
Sure. You first? Yeah, me first.
Yeah, please.
Okay. I'm gonna show this page to make sure you can see it.
Ooh, nice.
Okay, here's some Japanese vintage. I'm gonna pull one out because I have owned this card since I was a little guy.
Yeah.
I got this card with allowance money on eBay.
Yeah.
When I was like 7, probably.
Yeah.
So this is like, I don't know, in the late 90s or early 2000s range. That card is just, it's the one I couldn't sell, and it doesn't have much value. It's not an amazing condition. I think I probably paid about what it's worth today. Funny enough, like I probably spent $5 or $10 on it. It's probably about what it's worth now. But this little binder is just sort of like a sentimental binder, and kind of related to that. Last stream, I kind of alluded to this Ninetales that was in my wife's personal collection as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got kind of like a bend in it.
Oh, yeah.
She's like hanging out. She just like took it out and hung out with it. So this is, yeah, man, these are like super nostalgic cards. And then I'll show you one more that was fun because there's 2 Blaine's Arcanine there. If anyone watches my channel and they watched the Europe video, my buddy Axel that I was traveling with, he's from France. And so he had he wasn't as into it, but he had some Pokemon cards. And once he found out that I was into them, he asked for them from his parents or something, got the stack, and he had some French cards, and then he had this, and I was like, dude, I would buy this from you. I'd love to put it in a binder. And he's like, you could just have it. Like, I don't need them anymore. I'm not doing anything with them. Yeah. So I've got a few like that. Those are the ones I wanted to highlight today. But yeah, there's like, I've got a few like childhood cards from myself, my wife, good friends of mine. So those just always like have a fun little story, and have like, it's so the antithesis of talking about value and market, which we'll definitely do some of today. But like, I just love these for what they are and for the sort of memories imbued into them.
The Blaine's Arcanine, I mean, obviously it's such an iconic artwork. You know, I mean, whenever you see that in anyone's binder, you're like, oh yeah, that you gotta have that one.
Yeah.
Are you like an Arcanine collector in general, or is it mostly just that specific card?
when I got back into, this is a good example from last time we were talking about like your goals will change. My first collection goal, aside from getting all the very nostalgic WotC stuff, was to collect some of my favorite Pokemon. And Arcanine is like a top 10 for me. But I just sort of started collecting, like, I didn't have a goal. It wasn't like I'm gonna get every Arcanine card. It was just like I just started picking up Arcanines, and eventually I was like, this is a little like unfocused, and I wanted to just really go hard on like Scizor and Gengar. There's a lot to collect there, Dragonite to a certain extent. But yeah, so short answer is I was at the very beginning getting back into it, but not really anymore. But of course, like Arcanine's an awesome classic Pokemon and has a lot of awesome cards that some of them I own, some I would love to own.
Yeah. That same card, that artwork, is one of the only cards that kind of survived in my older brother's collection as well. Nice. It's an incredible one. And those Gym Heroes, Gym Challenge sets, and they're just so iconically a vintage Pokemon. You know what I'm saying? Like, because everyone had a couple of cards and had seen at least a couple of episodes of the anime. And those sets just kind of married that nostalgia so well.
Yeah, very true. Did you bring one?
Here's the story, okay, Oyama. I didn't bring any of my PC with me to Charlotte.
Okay.
But we're hanging out at my dad's house, my dad and my stepmom.
Yeah.
And we're just eating dinner. And this is like 2 hours ago. Totally impromptu.
Okay.
At the end of dinner, stepmom rolls downstairs and says, "Hey, I found this in the attic," and dude.
Uh-oh.
It's our entire childhood binder.
No way.
Yes.
Last time you were saying you're so jealous that I had found some of my childhood cards. You're joking.
Ricky, like unbelievable. And I'm not going to show any of it right now because we're going to do a huge video on it.
Come on. You don't have anything near you to show one card.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
Okay. We got to see one card, right? We got to see one card. Yeah. Come on. I feel like Chad agrees.
Okay. All right. You pressured me and I folded quickly because
it didn't take a lot.
Too exciting. So this right here is my vintage baseball card binder.
Nice.
And when we got into Pokemon cards, or when we finally were able to get a couple of Pokemon cards, we just kind of tossed all the baseball out and filled this with Pokemon cards. So like, let me just maybe try to find like one of the hits here or something.
I'm excited for this video you're going to put together.
Here. This is a good representation. I mean, so when we got back into the cards, it was when Diamond and Pearl had just come out.
Hey, okay. There's an Empoleon, yeah.
There's the old school. This is the first Empoleon card from Diamond and Pearl base set. But dude, I'm talking about like, that I'm just a huge Delta species head.
Uh-huh.
And it's because of some of the cards in this binder. Like we've got the Gyarados in here and the Pidgeot and the Feraligatr and all of these cards. My kind of, when I was 14 or whatever, it got passed down to my little brother, the Jarvitar. And then he kind of, I think that over the course of some moves or something, we thought that this entire binder had been given to some step cousins. And then, we knew we would never hear from it again because that was maybe 8 years ago or 10 years ago or whenever that would have happened. And then, a stepmom goes and checks in the attic, and while we're in town for the 2 days that we're at their place before we go to Charlotte Collecticon, and brings all these cards out. So as of 2 hours ago, we now have our childhood binder again.
Dude, I'm so happy for you. What did that even feel like? What were you like? What was your reaction?
I couldn't believe it. Like she comes down the stairs with this box and she's like, "Oh, like check this out." And I'm just like, "Wait, what?" Like we're still kind of in shock. And we're trying not to like pilfer through it and find all of the things yet because we want there to be some like authentic, really excitement and surprise at what we find when we do the video again.
Amazing.
But there's like a Gold Star Alakazam in there, and there's Hollow Dark Dragonite. Like there's some hits in there.
Wow. Gold Star Alakazam and Hollow Dark Dragonite. Let's go. That's so awesome, man.
I know. We're so excited. So keep an eye out. we'll put out a video. We'll record it. It'll be a long one because we're just gonna probably video the entire process of going through every card and then kind of putting them in a new binder. And yeah, we're really excited and very grateful. Shout out stepmom for being the hero today.
Amazing. Wow. Not what I was expecting, but I love it.
I know, man. I wasn't either. And I was planning on coming and just kind of like, making up some card and telling you guys about it, but it was extremely good news today.
Wow. What are the odds? Good timing.
Yeah. Incredible.
Good timing. Amazing. Well, I'll look forward to the video, man.
Let's move on to next section here. Favorite Pokemon card deal done recently since the last live stream. And then you go first. I do have one that's legit for this. I'm excited to tell.
Okay. Mine's not too wild. I haven't done a show in a little while, but I did do an Instagram story sale recently, and I sold a Greninja EX PSA 10 to a buddy of mine from college that we were reconnected through Pokemon like a year ago. And
from
I hadn't talked to him.
Grade?
Yeah, that one. Yeah. The SIR. And he lived, he was buddies with the guys that lived next to me in the dorms. And I just feel like one of the through lines of Pokemon for me is like reconnecting and connecting people. It was on my wife's dating app profile. It was one of I don't know if it was a pickup line. It was one of the things we talked about very early on was Pokemon. Folks are probably seeing him in the chat moderating. My buddy JT, who helps with, his name's James, but he helps with the this stream now, and he helps me with vending. A lot of the time you've seen him in my videos if you've watched those vending POVs. And I went to like a summer camp with him in high school, and we got reconnected through Pokemon. So selling Alberto this Greninja, like this, he messaged me about it a long time ago. He couldn't buy it at the time. Didn't really like have the funds in order to buy a $700 slab, and to finally be able to sell it to somebody, like it was this weird little full circle moment. Like it was, I did make a couple $100 profit on it, but I still, I gave him a deal. Like it was like 90% of market or whatever, but it's the reconnection. It's a card he's wanted a long time. He's an actual collector. He's not a flipper or anything like that. He just sort of is like accumulating things that he likes. So I always particularly love, as much as it's fun to do deals with other vendors and whatever, I always particularly love when it's going to someone who like has been wanting that for a while and is very likely to keep it. Yeah. So that's the deal that like stood out for me. There's one other, that's just a small little thing. I'm doing a trade virtually with someone that reached out on Instagram, and he threw this. If it'll focus, man. Oh, it's not going to focus. Okay, I have to put it near my head, maybe. Sorry, it's trying to. There we go.
Oh, that's sweet. Like a fire
wood burned. Yeah. He like wood burned a little scissor keychain and just threw it in. It's a simple little deal. It's like a Blaziken VMAX that I'm giving him for a Groudon illustration rare PSA 10, and he just threw that in, and I was like, this is so cool. And this is another example of one of those little like non-monetary things I love about the Pokemon community, is just little moments like that. So I'm sure we'll have hopefully more wild vending stories at the end of the month when I'm doing West Coast Card Show in Anaheim. But for now, it's these sort of smaller, like sweet little deals that are standing out for me.
I love it. No, I absolutely agree. And I'm sure people have noticed, when they watch some of the vendor content, sometimes people like will ask the question, hey, is this for your personal collection? Right. Especially like when another vendor walks up to the table. And it's the reason we ask that is because like we want to help people find the cards that they really want for themselves. For a lot of people are vending, at least in part, to build out their own personal collection and find what they're chasing. And when we can help people do that, like that is a really cool thing. And especially when you can reconnect with an old friend like that,
Totally. What's yours?
I kind of wanted to talk about maybe last week I talked about this deal that I did where I picked up some legendary collection packs. One of them was graded, if you remember that.
I do.
Well, the ones that I have that were ungraded, I ended up doing this really big deal with a collector, someone that I've done some deals with up in Idaho, and I drove out to his place, and we did a really big deal for a bunch of slabs that I'm going to be bringing out to Charlotte Collecticon. Mostly big modern stuff like a Moonbryon and Giratina V and all that kind of stuff in PSA 10. But what was really exciting, right before I left, we agreed on a price for him to open up the heaviest of my legendary collection packs.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
so he opens up. So that's the exciting deal I want to talk about today. So he opens up the Legendary Collection pack, and I have it on recording, and it's just like, okay, one card at a time, and we get to the very end, and he pulls the reverse Dark Blastoise,
Let's go.
reverse hollow.
Yeah. Sick.
So crazy. I think it's like
Sick.
top 3 or top 4 card in the entire set. So that was actually crazy to
Wow.
see, him like open that in person. I'd never seen someone open up an LC pack in person before. I wasn't brave enough to do it, but he was, and he scored big. It was very exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Have you opened up many vintage packs in the last little while, Ricky?
Nope. It's you kind of alluded to it. It's a bravery thing for me. I'm too scared to do it.
Yeah.
On a few levels.
I somehow like convinced myself, and this like before I got into vending, and I had bought some fossil packs a while back, and one of them I had gotten was heavy, and I decided to open it with some family, and I pulled a hollow Lapras, but that's the only like good hit I've gotten out of vintage packs since getting back into the hobby. I've opened up another fossil pack that had nothing, and then I opened up a Fire Red Leaf Green pack that had nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one fossil pack was my only hit, but it just seems so risky, man.
Yeah.
Like the thing about those packs back then is you open it, and like even if you get a hit, it's most likely going to grade like an 8. So there's almost no way you make your money back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the EX era,
It's not a value play.
Yeah. It's a nostalgia play.
Yeah, it is. It's a nostalgia play.
Yeah, Lapras with the teeth. Yeah, that old one. Yeah, with the hollow background that like it's basically just in the Loch Ness Lake or whatever.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Is it time to get into the tall grass?
Let's get into the tall grass.
Let's get into the tall grass.
Take us there, Ricky. Lead us out.
Okay. Well, as we're venturing into the tall grass, I feel like we should start sharing some far-fetched ideas.
Yeah, what is a far-fetched idea? Man, a far-fetched idea, like maybe like a hot take for the hobby right now. And this is something that maybe not everyone's going to agree with, and we kind of want to see what the chat has to say about it. So here's my far-fetched idea. The long-term, the most valuable card from Sword and Shield is going to be the Giratina V Alt Art.
Okay. A spicy hot take for the first far-fetched idea. Defend it.
Giratina V, Shinji Kondo artwork.
Yeah.
Pretty hard to grade, honestly.
Yeah.
The gem rate compared to like VMAXs and stuff. And I think Lost Origin long-term, I feel like has a really good chance of overtaking Fusion Strike as the second most valuable set from Sword and Shield. And I just think it's a sleeper hit. I really do, compared to some of the ones that are maybe seem more obvious. So that's where I'm at.
I like it. I went a different direction with my hot take, but this is what the show's about. My hot take, my far-fetched idea is that it is okay to price above market, but almost everyone does it wrong.
Ooh. Okay. So first of all, how do people do it wrong, and what's the right way to do it?
It's just my take. Okay, it's a far-fetched idea. So who's to say if it's
right out there? I mean,
it's already out there.
This is far-fetched.
Can't take it out. Well, yeah, people will know that it's far-fetched. If there are no recent sales, or if you know of confirmed sales, but they were like in person, not on something like eBay, then it is fair to try to set new comps. Also, as cards go up, it's okay to be a few % above recent solds. Like, if a card is clearly climbing, you could be a few % above. People will be like, a card will be climbing. It's at 600 recent solds, and they'll price it at 1,000. And it's like, that's crazy. If you think it's going to be 1,000, just don't sell it. You're just like speculating and investing. Just hide it away and then come back out and prove us right that it was going to 1,000. And don't be the guy that's pricing something like double the most recent comp, unless there's like really, especially for something that's selling regularly. For things that are increasing, someone always had to set the new comp, like by definition. That's how it works. Yeah. For things that are rare though and don't sell very often, I think it's fair to basically gauge the overall market today against whatever the market was in that last sale. I'm thinking like high grade gold stars that maybe it's like the last sale was a few months ago. I mean, maybe not these days, but there have been times where this is effectively why Josh stopped taking Delta species. Hey, I mean, we could talk about that too. I know you and I talked about that before you made any decisions on it.
I love this comment, and I love your and Ricky. I completely agree with your take. I think that's justified, especially for that low pop stuff. But like Professor CBC says here, that doesn't mean I have to like it.
No, you don't have to like it. I'm just saying there's a way to do it. There's a right way to do it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And there are a couple of like high-end vintage card sellers that do this extremely well, and they have like built this entire business off of going to some of these shows, finding the lower pop stuff, buying it all up, and then selling it on their story sale on Instagram or something at prices that are definitely higher than any public comp maybe ever, or at least since maybe the boom in 2021. And they're able to do this because they have enough of a following for these kinds of cards.
Yeah.
And they're extremely good at sourcing them and willing to pay high prices to get their hands on them and kind of corner the market on them. So this is a touchy topic for me, because when I was a little bit less seasoned as a card seller, and especially less seasoned at selling these more rare cards, I kind of had and I still I feel a little bit of a resistance to seeing some of those high prices. But in a market like we're in now, where all of these kind of low pop cards are coming out of the woodwork and people are sourcing them and finding them, if you put up a price that you're willing to part with it, and you might find a buyer for it, and that's all there is to it. But you're exactly right. Like some of the modern stuff that like is selling on eBay like multiple times a day, if you're pricing 10% above market on something like that or more, it just kind of makes you look a little scuzzy, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Not a person of the people. I feel like 10% is like right at the edge. You know, like if something's 1,000 and there was like 2 solds for 1,000, and it's clearly been like it was 800 before that, and it was 850, 800.
Sure.
Then you could be at 1,100, and like especially if you're negotiable there, and you're like, well, it's kind of going up. Like I saw a lot of that at a recent show. I think that's not that wild, but I think 10% is around the limit. Like if you're going 1,200 and it's never sold for that anywhere on a $1,000 card, it's like, I don't know. It's at best it's a little cringe.
Yeah.
What do we got here from Mikey?
I like what Mikey has to say here. We'll mark up way past sold, not trying to scam, but basically saying I want to hold, but someone's willing to pay that, then I'd be willing to sell it. This is kind of going back to what you said earlier about like, someone has the card and they're kind of speculating that it's going to keep going up.
Yeah.
But in that case, what will be smarter? Just kind of having a high sticker, or like you said, just kind of taking it off the table until it does what you think it's going to do. Like, for example, I don't know if you guys know this seller on Instagram, but I'll shout him out because I think he does good business. His name's Cooper, and he goes by Pokey Spiffs, and he sells a lot of really high-end stuff, both sealed boxes and big slabs and stuff. And he had a card that I wanted, and we were just hanging out at a trade night, and I saw it in his case. And, I was like, oh, how much did you pay for that? And he told me, and I was like, oh man, I'm willing to pay on top of that number right now. You make some money and I get this card that I really wanted. And he literally refused to sell it to me because he really believed it was going to climb at a really high rate and didn't want to part with it until it got to that number. And so we didn't get the deal done. And, it's just because, he really believed in that card. And sometimes that's just how it goes. But it wasn't for sale. He had a card that was simply not for sale yet.
Yeah, I mean, and that's that's honestly perfectly handled, right? You made an off, like both sides, I feel like made the right play there. It's not like he had it out stickered at some absurd price. It's like just something that he had, and he's like, I'm not really selling this, I just have it. And you're like, I'll offer more, you make money, I'll offer over market or whatever it is. And yeah, it's totally within his right. And out of curiosity, was he right?
I think he was right.
Yeah, he was reading the tea leaves there, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's someone that was really tuned into that part of the market.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Well, let's go into our next part of the tall grass here. Let's chat about a Hitmon topic of the week. Any news? Actually, a news or a current event that we want to comment on. I think the low hanging fruit here has got to be what's going on with this Seismitoad card.
Ooh, okay.
Black Bolt and White Flare. What do you think? Were you okay to chat about that for a minute?
That was going to be my Gyarados of reality.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we just marry those two today.
Let's marry those two.
Because I do want to talk about this, and I want to hear what the chat has to say.
Yeah.
Yes, Ryan, thank you for noticing our Pokemon puns. We're trying so hard to be we're trying so hard to be Poke puns. So the Seismitoad, maybe for those who are unfamiliar, we can maybe show it to them really quick on TCG Player. Are you willing to do that?
Yeah, let's give it a try.
Okay. While you're doing that, I guess maybe some of the backstory here is, number one, this is another Shinji Kanda artwork. And, along with the Giratina, the Magikarp, the Magneton promo, and some other artworks, it's just kind of garnered this really huge fan base for this kind of psychedelic style that Shinji Kanda has.
Yeah.
And there's another piece of this card that has been even more, I guess, speculative as to why it's so expensive. In the artwork, if you really zoom in, there's this kind of 666 pattern that appears in the vine right there.
Yeah.
And people are speculating that they think, oh, well, this is going to get banned by the Pokemon Company. And because of that, it's not going to be printed in future print runs of the set. And therefore, it's going to be much more rare and all this stuff. So with all that being said, what's your take on how much this card is worth right now? As people are seeing, it's in the $200 range.
Yeah, it is. But look, it's starting. It peaked right at 227. It's come down a little bit, and look. There's like the first valid, like this first verified is 205. Yeah. So that's really the new price for the card. It's heading down. Yeah. What's my take? I mean, this is completely speculative. I don't know if it's organized. I don't like to conspiracy theory that much on stuff like that. But yeah, man, are they going to pull it because of the 666 in the ferns? I don't know, man. I think I get that it's a Shinji Kanda art. I collect Shinji. I have a whole 2-page spread in my binder of Shinji Kanda art, so I get it. But I think loading up on these completely speculative. It's a bad time to buy it if you want to collect it. If you pull it, I think it's a good time to sell it. I'm just making that call now. Obviously, I'll be wrong if they actually if it's a banned artwork and the print run ends up really, really small. But yeah, it made it to English print run. Same type of leaves are literally card artworks. Yeah, this is that's a good point. Yeah, it's a totally good point. Elder Unlimited. Usually with the banned arts, they're historically it'll be something that comes out first in Japanese, gets adjusted for Western markets in time, and we saw how fast there's a side Hitmon topic here on the stolen art in Pokemon TCG Pocket. But anyway, we won't go down that route. What's
that
your
side Hitmon topic, that Tyrogue, if you will?
Wow. Okay. Oh my gosh, that Tyrogue.
Yeah. So I think that the reason I wanted to put Elder's comment up here is because I'm of this opinion, which is we're talking about the Pokemon Company, which has a history from many years ago of having to ban artworks that were in Japanese print runs before they came to the U.S. print runs. But we're talking about an artwork that's already come to the U.S. print run. And I might be wrong here, but has there been a banned artwork since 1998? Is there anything more recent than some of those gym sets?
Yeah, there are.
There's the Rocket with the Grimer. What else is there?
There's Magmortar. Dragon's Exalted Magmortar in English. In Japanese is pointing his gun.
Yes. Okay.
So that's relative. It's still vintage. I don't know if there have been any ultra modern ones. I happen to have my binder here, and I collect these, and I don't know if I'm complete on them. But
it just seems to me like this is a company that has gone through this already and would have buttoned up all of these processes so that they
Yeah.
get things verified from an artwork standpoint
Yeah.
that would pass every company's standards before letting it go to any of them.
I think this is the most I'm aware of.
That's actually a crazy artwork. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, so it got changed to this, and I want to say it's Dragon. I could be wrong. Someone in the chat correct me. Dragon's Exalted.
I think it is. I think that is Exalted.
So he's still on a staircase. Yeah, so that might be the most recent. The rest in here are quite OG.
Yeah, that's crazy. I just feel like they are not going to go through that again, and they'll just get things verified. But again, who knows? I guess if there's some sort of crazy backlash, then maybe they would react to it.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
So far, it just kind of seems like, collector speculation.
That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah.
So that was your Hitmon topic and my Gyarados of reality. My Hitmon topic was this chargeback scam that seems to have hit a lot of creators like Pokevault, Shinyvert, I think Rev. I haven't even caught up to it.
Yeah, there's like a new video that Vault published about Rev's situation. I have not watched yet.
Yeah. So that's my Hitmon topic, because I have not in Pokemon, but in the past when buying and selling wristwatches, I had somebody steal like $9,000 and a $9,000 watch from me through a chargeback scam.
What payment processor was it?
PayPal. So
they did via credit card on PayPal.
They did via credit card over friends and family. And there were some like red flag now in like there's so much that I do now. But the reason I want to talk about this is because I have firsthand experience with this. I don't know all the details. I've watched some of the videos of what's going on with these guys. And I think a lot of them, it's on platforms or websites. Like it might be happening through Shopify or Drip.
Yeah, it seems like that's what happened to Vault at least.
So they're like siding with the buyer. And a lot of these platforms do. So the thing to keep in mind, there's two things when you're particularly using goods and services, PayPal. One is goods and services that they always side with the buyer. So if you're selling something through PayPal, goods and services, the buyer can literally receive what you send them and then say they didn't receive it or that it was damaged. And like 99% chance that you are out the money and the card. Yeah. So it's like a double whammy of pain because you sent the thing already. You actually followed through on your side of it. The friends and family thing is you can use a credit card. I guess you can use a credit card for either, but friends and family, you can use a credit card. And what my suspicion is that this guy used a stolen credit card. And so somebody probably saw a $9,000 charge on a credit card and went to their bank and was like, I super didn't do this. And I didn't have any way of like figuring out what the bank was or like how it was very hard to figure out. They probably used a fake name and like a, I don't know, middleman address or something. So I didn't end up chasing it that hard. And, hopefully this works out for these guys that were scammed by this, I think his name is Cody, this so-called Cody. But I just wanted the chat to be aware if you're buying and selling online, that the way that the way that you are exposed to this is probably through PayPal.
Yeah.
And this is why you want to check references. You want to deal with people that you know or that you trust who have something to lose, that aren't going to, screw you over for a few $100 or even a few $1,000.
Yeah.
And that you otherwise take payment over Zelle or Wire for things like this.
Yeah. To be honest, man, like it took a long time for me to kind of get to the point where I would be comfortable doing a high volume of sales online. And only very recently, started doing some of the streaming through Drip and stuff. And one of those reasons was this exactly, because there's a lot of money going around. This is now a hobby that has really high end pieces and high sales volume, and this is a risk. This is a definite risk, and these payment processing companies, like, they kind of have the sellers in a vice grip. Like there's only so many ways that you can accept payment without really complex systems in place. And to get to the point where you could go to some sort of arbitration with them, you have to be doing a lot of work to do that, or you need to be a really huge volume seller. And it's it's tough. And so I appreciate you calling that out. If for those in the chat who haven't seen some of those videos yet, they're worth a watch, and all those guys, Vault and the others, have been very transparent about what they're going through. And it's not just a loss in money, like they've said. It's really there's a loss in confidence in how you're doing your business, and there's a lot of stress that comes with having to solve one of these problems. It's very anxiety inducing. So,
and that feeling, like, I know what they're feeling, because it never leaves you. Like that paranoia, like, I don't know, hopefully this isn't the case for anybody in the chat or that watches this, but I have had situations where someone with no references or following or whatever is trying to do a deal with me on Instagram, and I'll essentially back out of it if they don't want to do it like essentially my way, which for things like trades, you send me stuff first, because I have more evidence. I have hundreds and hundreds of pieces of feedback. I have a YouTube channel and people that I know in the community. I have a lot to lose here. I'm not going to, there's no world in which, not only is there no world in which I'm going to scam anybody, but certainly not for a $300 deal.
right.
If people won't play with me that way, I'm just like, all right, then it's fine. I just pass on the deal. If you want, same thing with like PayPal goods and services or friends and family. Sometimes if it's somebody new and they pay through friends and family or whatever, I'll wait a few days before shipping, because you'll see if that chargeback happens, right? If it's a stolen card or something. So, and most of the time, and frankly, I say all this, but like actually people have been really accommodating. So I haven't really had any issues, but I think I'm essentially in a privileged position because I have mainly a social media content following. People come to me with things and they're like, I trust you. I will send you the stuff first, or I'll send you the money first, or whatever. I'll send it to you through Zelle. So it's been okay. But like all of that comes from paranoia, because it's essentially PTSD, like a light form of PTSD, because I've gone through it. So anyway, that was my Hitmon topic. I thought this was something that probably folks are aware of, but just some tips there. Did you have another Gyarados of reality?
I didn't.
Okay.
I was gonna just kind of piggyback on yours, and I think that we touched on the main one is that seismitoad, and it's just an interesting time. So keep your head on a swivel out there for scams, and also for maybe some bubbles as far as values of certain cards are concerned, guys. But with that being said, let's get into our main topic. The main topic of the day is mega boom or
mega bust.
Mega bust, mega bust. So I think one of the reasons you and I kind of came up with this title specifically is because I had heard lots of talk maybe in the last couple of months before all of these releases and leaks of the certain cards that are going to be in this first set, that like, okay, Scarlet and Violet's going to end, and then the next generation is going to just be not as good, and the entire market's going to slow down, and things are going to go back to normal, or I guess newly released sets are going to be closer to MSRP and are going to be easier to get and are not going to garner as much excitement. And it doesn't seem to be the case.
Should we, do you want to start? I mean, we can go either way. Do you want to start by going through the card arts?
Yeah, let's look at some of these, man, because honestly, like, I don't know. When I see some of this stuff, I am very hyped, very personally excited. I think that it seems to me like they're making some really good decisions here with the card art.
Shout out TCG Metro, really good follow, really on top of high quality, high resolution posts like this.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, this first frame immediately.
Yes.
Come on.
The Bulbasaur is the promo, isn't it, or no?
I don't know. I don't remember. Someone in the chat will probably know this. I feel like the Bulbasaur. It depends on this. I think. I feel like it was an Alakazam and a Riolu for English were the promos. That's wrong. Does that sound right?
I know the Alakazam. I remember the Alakazam.
Yeah, and I think it's a Riolu that's like up on a watchtower. I'm sure it'll come up here.
Dude, I love this Executor. The Executor, like, because we have the Execute from Surging Sparks, and so this will go so well with that.
Totally. I love this Vulpix, some like nostalgic vibes, like kind of monotone. I think this was one of the first arts revealed or leaked. Let's keep rolling. Here's that Riolu I was talking about. I think this is going to be a promo in the English, one of the English ETBs. It could be wrong.
Yeah.
Dude, this Marshadow, what is it doing to my boy Pika?
Oh my goodness.
What is this spooky boy?
That is crazy cool.
Super cool. Spiritomb, just underappreciated.
So the spear tomb is on top of that that little tower where you find it in Diamond and Pearl
Oh,
here.
good catch. Good eye. Yes, it
Yeah,
sure
how
is.
cool is that?
Very cool. I mean, I think a lot of people thought of Coop when we saw this.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, that's such a sweet card.
It's so cool.
It's got such Gen 2 vibes, you know?
It does for sure. I mean, even these Spearows, I like these birds hanging out. And then look at this. I think this guy's called Gumshoes.
Gumshoes, yeah.
What is he again? Like these Pokemon creeping on the Gen 1 guys.
Yeah.
He's a Rattata. He's like he's hunting or doing something there. Probably need to give it a hard refresh there for some reason. I feel like that was maybe the full arts. Oh,
Oh,
and then I mean these trainers that are gonna be in this.
yeah. I mean, they just loaded it with some of the most exciting trainers from the entire series, man.
Here's that Venusaur that goes with the Bulba and the
Okay,
IV.
here's what's crazy is this is just the full art Venusaur, isn't it? This isn't the SAR, is
This
it?
is the SAR. There's a
Oh,
full
it
art.
is.
Yeah, it does look kind of similar. I
But
think
like,
the graphic like didn't work for some reason. We can give it a
okay.
refresh. Here's Venusaur fighting as always.
Man.
Look at this Absol too.
Yeah, it's giving Gotham
Totally
big time.
like Gargoyle Gotham vibes.
Yeah, it's like the same kind of idea as the Noivern from Evolving Skies.
Yes, totally. I wonder if it's oh, this is a Rita, so it's a pretty OG guy. But
Oh,
is
man.
this art reminds me of like I think it's called Salvatore. I forget
Mhm,
which set, but I wonder if it's the same artist. I didn't
mhm.
check. Then we got Lily, the new rarity.
Okay, so is this gonna be like the same kind of deal where it has that interesting texture like the Reshiram and Zekrom from Black and White do from the new set?
I don't know. I saw real photos of it for Japanese. Yeah, I don't know. I assume the MUR is mega ultra rare, something along those lines.
You know, I love new rarities, you know?
Yeah,
Mega ultra rare. Like it
mega
the
ultra,
next step has to be giga rare, right?
giga ultra, Gigantamax.
Yeah, VMAX rare.
Oh, we're not done. I collect sleepy arts. Look at the Shuckle, peaceful.
Oh, so sweet.
We've got a few other little guys, Snover, Litten,
Snover, yeah.
Jask. Oh man, okay. I'm gonna give this a hard refresh because for some reason, yeah. Let's see if that helps. Yeah, there we go. Here is the full art Venusaur.
Oh, yes.
What do you think of this? Like sort of like echo of the non-mega.
You know what? I personally, as far as like a theme, I like that more than I like the old school megas with the lettering.
Yeah.
You know what's so crazy is like I had a friend who finally showed me like a Japanese version of those cards where the lettering is in English.
Yep.
I didn't know
You
that
didn't know
until
that,
like
yeah.
maybe a year ago. Like
Yeah.
that's so crazy.
Yeah.
That's
I
so
like
cool.
those too. Those grew on me.
Yeah. No, this is gorgeous.
Hang on, let's keep going. I think there's a few more. Here's that Alakazam we were talking about. I thought this Inteleon, the color contrast, really cool.
Mhm.
I love Shedinja, or if I want to trigger anybody, Shed Ninja.
Yeah, Shed Ninja and
Shed Ninja.
Ninjask, yeah. Those will go well together.
Yeah. I mean, these are so good. Okay, so we didn't even the Gardevoir.
Yeah, the Gardevoir, dude. That's so crazy.
Do you
And
think that's going to be the sorry?
It's a throwback because it has the Curlia and the
Yeah,
the routes in there and everything. It's chef's kiss.
Do you think that's going to be the chase, or what would you guess? Oh, I mean, we're not.
I think by default it's probably going to go with Venusaur.
Okay.
But if I'm talking honestly, I think that the Gardevoir and the Lucario are better cards.
The SIR Lucario or the gold one?
SIR, yeah.
This guy. Yeah.
That's just fabulous.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's giving so much like furious fists and it's like kind of punk anime. It's so cool.
It's really good. Yeah,
it's
so
got
good.
like a Super Smash Bros feel, you know?
It does. Instead of MSRP, this will be new record sales. Yeah, so should we talk about that? Like our thoughts on what's going to happen with the price here?
Yeah, I mean, what did we see as far as price for pre-order on Destined Rivals? It got all the way up to like 350, 400
Um,
maybe.
will that show? Oh yeah, I think that will show up on. I 350 was a good call. Sorry, let me re-screen share. I had this up as well because I thought we were going to talk about Rivals as a sort of benchmark for it. So yeah, good call, man. I think it was selling around 350 right before release. It tanked to 275 and jumped around. Price discovery came down to about a slightly more reasonable 240, 250, and now like shot up recently. Sits around 310, but yeah, 350 at release, and then 275, 320. Yeah,
The way I'm seeing it is it'll be a stronger release than every set except for maybe Destined. So I would not be surprised if I see it get to 300, 320 pre-release.
Hmm.
And then as it comes out and there's some access to product on the market, maybe goes down to like, sub 250 or so for a spell until there's more word about how much is going to be available. And then if it's harder to come by, like these newer booster boxes are, I think it'll go
Yeah.
right back to 300. Because what I'm hearing about the additional waves of Destined and these other sets is that the distributors are charging the local game stores, you know, 80 or 90% of market price,
Yeah.
not of MSRP for those additional waves, which just keeps the price high because everyone along the chain has to make some margin to stay in business.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. I'm with you. I mean, I think these are going to be hot. I think the Pokemon Company must be at this point at max capacity, right? It's something like 9-month delay on the printers is sort of what I've heard around the street. So,
Sure.
how that puts us, how far back is 9 months? We're in August now, right at Surging Sparks around December, which is right
Surging
when we,
released in November, I think.
yeah. When was Prismatic? Was that early in the fall?
January, right in the beginning
January.
of the
So
year.
yeah, so we're right around that 9. I mean, they have to have like rented printer space from other TCGs to go complete printers go burr. Like, I mean, they have to. Why wouldn't you? If you're Pokemon Company, you see what's happening here. Like, they literally, it's the closest thing to printing money other than printing money if you're the Pokemon Company. So they're definitely at max capacity, and I still think in the short term, I'm with you. I think they're going to do very similar to Destined Rivals. That would be my guess as well. And nobody accused me of pumping because like I have no access, I have no distributors.
Me
I have
neither.
no I'll be lucky to get 2 of this box at market.
Yeah, I've been able to pre-order none of it. I'm going to be
Yeah.
paying the same prices as everybody else.
Yeah.
Um, I put up this comment from Acoustic Hills for a reason because, like I said at the beginning of this talk track, there was like, okay, we're going to end Scarlet and Violet, and then we're getting into the mega set, and things are going to slow down. And it's like, okay, but they just announced this new set, which is the base set of Mega Evolution, and these artworks are fire. There's a Bulbasaur box topper. It's badass. Then we're going to go into Charizard Gengar set. And then I've also heard that they've already created some sort of a brand name that they've trademarked for a Rayquaza mega set.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a fact, but
Okay.
there's been mega Rayquaza sets already, and there's usually a Rayquaza set in almost every block,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's gonna go crazy. So here's what I want to see. I want to see an SIR Gengar. I want to see SIR both versions of the Charizard. I want to see an SIR Rayquaza. I want it battling an SIR of Deoxys. That's what I want.
Okay. I like it.
What do you want to see?
Oh, I mean, as a Gengar, I know I'm repping my Gengi guy. Sorry if my mom is listening. I have a Gengar tattoo, which she knows, but she hasn't seen any of them.
Oh, how dare you, Ricky?
I know. She's so disappointed in me on so many levels, but
She's not mad.
especially
She's disappointed.
yeah. No, but yeah, man. I what else do I want to see? No, I mean you listed them off, man. I could see They just recently did a really cool like evolution set in TCG Pocket, and I haven't been like on top of TCG Pocket, so I don't know if that's upcoming or what. They've released some evolution stuff, Chinese exclusive. Like a lot of them are sort of sleeping in scenery and stuff. Don't put it past them to just throw an evolution set, and I don't know, man. They're not getting megas, so I don't know how hard they're gonna go on the evolution thing.
Yeah.
So that's a thing, and then obviously we another thing I think actually on this topic of what do we want to see. You and I were talking about this as we were preparing for this stream, that there was somebody who leaked on 4chan like the 26 different descriptions. They just gave descriptions of the megas, but they nailed the Dragonite description. And I think there were hints to the other megas in one of the trailers recently, which further confirms that this person probably had real information. So I wanted to talk about this for a sec, because this will also dictate what's going to come out. 26 different 26 megas, I think it's 26. Only 4 are changing typings when they mega evolve.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's all these different descriptions, but the thing I wanted to talk about here, these are some mock-ups
Mm-hmm.
of what they might look like, and this was based on the Dragonite description. So as we all know, what they did to our boy, much bigger wings.
Yes, a little bit fluffy.
A little fluffy. These are interesting though. I wanted to point out just for fun, because you like Fraligator, right? That's your Gen 2 guy.
Yes.
Is this not Drudagon?
Yeah, this mock-up is literally a Drudagon.
Isn't this Drudagon? And it's based on the description. I forget where it was, but it literally says like it has a red alligator head and it can open its jaws really wide, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Mega Meganium. It's a bit of a mouthful.
Mega Meganium.
Mega Meganium. The starters, you pointed out that the starters from Gen 4 or 5, I forget which
Gen
one.
6, right?
6. Okay. Yeah, whichever one. We couldn't remember it exactly. We had them mixed up, but they hadn't had megas yet. It seems that all 3 of them will. So we'll get our like Delphox and Greninja megas, Phalanx. I mean, there's a lot of what are your thoughts on these? Like, do you think the
armory is crazy? Yeah, I mean, the mock-ups are obviously really helpful and cute and everything, but like, this seems very realistic that this would be our list here. It's like a good mix of Pokemon from all different generations.
Yeah.
And I mean, the fact that they have the starters from, that they've already announced that they're going to have these 3 starters, right?
Yeah.
The Totodile and the Chikorita. And what's the Tepig is the name of the other one, right?
Totodile, Chikorita. This one is Tepig becomes Emboar.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's so much like, evidence that they're on the right track here. So I'm feeling good about it. It seems very Pokemon to do this kind of grouping of Pokemon for another generation of new megas.
What do you think of Starmie grows legs so it can run around?
Starmie with legs. I mean, I'd like my Starmie's legs to be a bit more muscular,
Yeah.
like big, beefy man legs coming out of the bottom of Starmie, don't you think?
We're so on the same page, Jake. we just couldn't be more on the same page. Yeah, totally. No, this looks pretty bizarre. It gives me like SpongeBob vibes for some reason. Like
Yes.
There's the guy he like Wumbo. There's an episode with I can't remember the name of this guy, one of the underwater superheroes, but he has like a little gem. I forget what it is. MW's for Wumbo.
Yeah.
Someone will know it in the chat, but for some reason it gives me that vibe. Anyway, I thought it'd be fun to go through those. Do you have any guesses or thought, like, is there going to be an awesome Mega Dragonite SIR that's going to warm us up to Dragonite? Like, do you think a lot of these will get?
I'm open to an SIR Mega Dragonite if it's like wings are like folded back, like it's moving so fast forward that you can hardly tell that the wings are so fluffy. But give Starmie the prime. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Starmie needs like big arms, maybe some chains. Like, give me like alternative Starmie energy.
Totally. I know we're getting close to the Q&A time here. one thing I wanted to ask your thoughts on was, will more people enter or leave the hobby during this era? And the information I wanted to impart as we noodle on this is that when 151 was announced, there wasn't a lot of hype around it, right? Like you could buy those UPCs for 90, $100 in Costco, and they would just be there for weeks at a time. But it brought a ton of people around our age group, folks who are maybe in their late 20s to mid 30s range, back into Pokemon, or it contributed to it ultimately. And that was an interesting instance of them focusing on a generation, which they did again, obviously, for White Flare and Black Bolt. The people who were 9 to 14 years old in 2013 when Megas were introduced are now 21 to 26 years old. So they are probably just entering the workforce. Maybe they got a little money. Maybe they're feeling a little 1 year in a cubicle and they're feeling a little nostalgic for childhood. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
I think your take is right on, man. I mean, it reminds me a lot of how I felt when Evolutions was kind of readily available. And that kind of reprint of those old artworks really scratched that nostalgia itch for me at a price point that I could afford. And yeah, I when I see people come up to the table with their childhood binder, and their childhood binder is black, white, and X and Y cards, it makes me think that this kind of theme of people 10 years after they were a kid or 15 years after they were a kid getting back into the hobby, and the Pokemon Company just feeding that kind of nostalgia with a set like this, you know, the black and white set, and then right into a mega set. Like, they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
Like, I don't know. I can't say how many people are going to re-enter, but it makes a sense to me that it would be quite a bit. And then we go into the 30th anniversary next year, and it's just going to continue to fuel that fire.
Yep.
So I don't know. There's so many, when people ask me like, oh, when is the bubble going to pop and when are things going to slow down? I'm like, tell me about all the headwinds that you see, because I only see tailwinds. I only see things propelling us to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Blast Boost. This is my guy here. Crazy Altart Mega Blasty. I need it. I need it too. I wouldn't mind if we see one in the Charizard Gengar set. You know what I'm saying? That way we get all 3 starters get megas before too long. So
that would be awesome. I need help requiring. Okay, everyone, keep an eye out for reverse Blastoise Crystal Guardians PSA 10 for our guy here.
I need one for myself first. All right, everyone help me get one, and then I'll get one for you.
Whoa! I thought you were a man of the people, Jake. What is happening? This person did a $20 super chat.
Oh,
I gotta put you on the spot
that's
here.
So true.
There's
I gotta get him one first.
A Gyarados of reality for you there.
Speaking of Gyarados, we'll probably get a Mega Gyarados SAR.
Yeah. What does Mega Gyarados look like?
It's kind of shrimpy.
It looks like a big shrimp, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a big shrimp.
So yeah, to answer your question, I just see tailwinds. I just see more people joining, more people getting excited, and I'm excited too. I know that can be hard to stomach for some people because it is more difficult to find product on retail shelves than ever before. But yeah, just get in the hobby, get involved, and do that little bit of elbow grease to find the right deals, and you'll still have a really good time, because the Pokemon Company is really making good decisions lately, in my opinion.
I'm with you. Hey, Blast Boost says Jake called it first. He needs one. What a I mean,
he's a gentleman.
What a true gentleman.
All I know is whether it's him getting it or me getting it, we're still going to pay through the nose, because that card is so hard to find and beautiful.
Yeah. All right. Well, you we talked about this last time. We will never fail to spend an hour just gabbing, you and I, about Pokemon cards. We could easily go longer.
Yeah.
I think it's probably time to hang out with the chat a little bit.
Let's do it, guys. Let's do some questions. If you have some questions, throw them here in the chat. We'll throw them up and we'll discuss them. So it can be about anything. Let's just start with this one because it was the first one I saw.
Okay.
First edition Shining Gyarados could fetch these days. Aiden, depends. If it's graded, is it English? There's a lot of things that will affect the value. But what I can say is Shining Gyarados specifically is a card that whenever I get in my business inventory, it sells so fast. People really, really want that
Yep.
card.
Yep.
Want to be live on Drip again. Gordon, thank you for asking. We're going to try to be live right after we get home from Charlotte. So we'll make sure we announce that not this week, but next, hopefully. This one I saw from earlier. Do you want to go on this one? This is kind of one I think we can probably riff on.
Yeah, 100%. So David, are we old cert or new cert vendors? New cert guys try to charge more even if the same grade as the old cert. Yes, new cert guys do. And I think this to me is like for vintage cards, maybe it got a little bit harder recently to grade them, or their standards have changed over time since the days of the twos. So when we're talking comparing sometimes you do look at those 2 and 4 early certs and they don't necessarily look like modern 10s in a lot of cases, in my experience. So as much as I'm always the person to say, I don't do the conspiracy theories or the whatever. Like, I think there's sort of some objective truth there, right? I mean, they must have announced at a few points that they've changed their standards over time. And anyway, a long way of saying I prioritize new certs when I can, because I know that there are collectors who care about that, but I am not super fussy about it. One other reason I like newer certs like 7 and on is you have a nice scan on PSA's website. And so for authentication and making listings like with high res certs, it is just a little more convenient to deal with modern certs, in my opinion. And I think the plastic's gotten there's just like a lot of things going for newer certs. So that's my long-winded answer. You're right. We could riff on this. What's your take, Jake?
I think the answer for me is going to be, it's as simple as when it comes to vintage cards, which is primarily what we're talking about here, because there's modern cards, they really just depends when they were printed is one of the bulk of their certifications are going to be. But with vintage cards that are lower population, that are really desirable, we're talking about gold stars and shinings and crystals and things like that, EXs maybe. The condition of the actual card matters. And you can have a 2 cert that has immaculate condition sell for more than a modern PSA 10 if the card and the scan and everything like that is in and of itself really, really clean and in really great condition.
Yeah.
The collectors that are out there looking for the high-end stuff, they're just pickier than the rest, and they feel like, they have the right to, because they're willing to pay that bigger extra amount for a high-end card, and so they're going to be picky about the condition of the actual card. And there's just kind of, I guess, a presupposition that the modern cards, or the modern certs that is, are going to be on average cleaner, because there's an assumption that the grading standards have gotten more strict over time. But it's still going to be subjective, and card to card, their variance is going to exist. So for me, I wouldn't call myself an old cert or a new cert vendor in general. I want to look at the card. Yeah. And then I also want to look at, are there new certs out there that are selling for more than old certs? And if so, then I have to respect that as a legitimate comp if it's happening on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You had a follow-up question on whether we would price them differently. I personally don't think I would, unless, to Jake's point, there's a clear difference in sales online.
Yeah. I wouldn't start that trend, but if I see it as a legitimate trend, like, I can't ignore it.
Right. Yeah. I think that's the right take. We've seen some other good ones. Oh, we have Modern Cards AZ again. This guy's always leaving us love. He was here last time, dropped a nice super chat, does it again. He left a nice comment. They left a nice comment on my recent video. So thanks for the love, Modern Cards.
Thank you, Modern Cards. Appreciate your support big time. That's again, one of the reasons we want to do this is so we can interact with you guys more directly like this.
Yeah.
Let me see this one. Peyton, do y'all see Pokemon dropping it like it did after the 30th anniversary? Peyton, great question. I think there's so many different factors, and not just the fact that the 30th anniversary will that kind of set announcement will eventually end and transition into the next thing. But if I was to guess, I don't see enough headwinds impacting the market until the 30th anniversary for things to slow down. So if there was going to be like a soonest time it could slow down, I would say maybe after the 30th anniversary set would be my estimate. But I don't see, again, any default reasons why it will have to slow down just because the 30th anniversary comes and goes. Maybe, but I think there has to be bigger reasons for it to slow down than just that kind of being done. What do you think, Ricky?
I agree. I think there were some interesting macro circumstances in 2021 that influenced card values and popularity, and you saw it across collectibles in 2020 and 2021, especially when folks were home. And without getting too into it, I don't suspect. No, I totally agree with you, Jake. Like, something else has to happen. There has to be some other factor. It won't just drop because the 25th anniversary, which I think is what Peyton's referring to. The 25th anniversary dropped. I don't know. It feels like they're also making better decisions lately than they were in that era. And so like that celebration set was, they did some cool things, but the print runs were really high and like the hit rates were really good. Like, there's not a lot of like chase in those. I think it would have been really interesting if like the Gold Star Greninja had an extremely low hit rate, right? That would be like, I think that would have made that set a little bit more interesting in the immediate aftermath of its release. So anyway, long and short of it is, I don't think it's just going to drop immediately unless there's something else, some other macro reason for that.
Yeah, agreed. Spooky. Airline sellers justifying prices with fees added into their sticker. I never see that at shows. How do you feel about sellers trying to get us to cover overhead? Man, I can understand like sticking to a price because you think the card is worth that much and you feel like you can get that much, and getting that amount is going to, help you make the money that you need to secure the margin that you have for your business. But like having a market price and then adding on top of that to cover your margin sounds to me like maybe you need to do a little bit better at acquiring cards at a price that can allow you to sell at market price, because that's how you're going to build trust in the community. What's your take there?
Perfect. Exactly. Exact same take. That's on them. Don't buy from these sellers. Let them figure it out.
Yeah. Blast Boost with a hard-hitting question that he sent me a message about earlier, but I want to hear your thoughts, Ricky. What do you take on this?
Yeah, so I'm going to read them out because I know some people listen to these podcasts afterwards and they're not necessarily watching. So Blast Boost, what do you think of BGS 9.5 quads? So for anyone who doesn't know, we are referring to BGS has subgrades for different categories like surface, corners, edges, and centering. And quads would be that it has all straight 9.5s on those. Been stacking up a lot of those because they can easily grade to a PSA 10. Yeah, I haven't experimented with this myself, so I can't speak to this play, but I think if you can buy these meaningfully cheaper than a PSA 10 and you're willing to take the gamble and make the effort, I think this is too time-consuming a play for me, but I think for people who like this sort of thing, I think it's valid, man. I like the BGS subgrade thing does give you a little bit of transparency into why another professional grader gave it the grade that it did, why it wasn't perfect to them. And I've definitely seen some PSA 10s that would be a BGS 9 or 9.5 or whatever, right? Like with some imperfections, but yeah, that's my take. I get it. I don't hate it.
Yeah, I think that this is a valid play, but I will also say that the reason it's a play is because there is risk, right? If this was an obvious choice, then everyone would be doing it.
Yeah.
But there's that margin between a 9.5 BGS and a 10 because there's the risk of crossing. There's the expense of grading. There's the chance that PSA gives you an 8 and ruins your day. That does happen. It's happened to me. I've also had to go the other way where I hit a big winner and go from 9.5 to 10. So this is not a play without risk.
Yeah.
But I would say that because there is that higher probability maybe than crossing a 9 or an 8.5, then you're going to see that reflected in the fact that it's more expensive to buy a BGS 9.5 than a PSA 9. So, yeah, I think that already is kind of reflected in the market price today, that there's a risk there, but it's also a comparably known quantity risk.
Yeah.
What about this one? Mike.
Mike, would you guys venture into One Piece or DBZ like Pack Battle? I feel like I've been answering first. You go first, Jake.
Pack Battle has been a fan of One Piece and DBZ for many, many years.
Yeah.
I personally don't have any experience with either of those IPs. I mean, I've watched some of the Dragon Ball Z show and I enjoy it, but I don't have any experience like owning any of the apparel or being a longtime fan or playing any of the card games or anything like that, especially when I was a kid. The reason I'm into Pokemon cards compared to anything else is because it scratches my nostalgia itch. And I love that. And so I won't be, and I won't be getting into sports either because I don't have any nostalgic connection. I collected a lot of baseball cards, but for whatever reason, I just don't care about it anymore. And there's a lot of ways to make money in the world. And I chose this one because I actually have that emotional connection to it.
Yep, huge +1 from my end as well. And oddly, same. I played baseball as a kid and I collected baseball cards. I was super into them probably around the same time I first got into Pokemon as well. And yeah, I don't care about them anymore. I don't follow that. That's really what it comes down to for me as well is I am not just in this strictly for the money. I think that that's a fun aspect of being able to kind of cover the cost of my collection, and it's a fun thing to learn and to educate other people on as I learn. But exactly the same as you, Jake, I don't have a specific passion for this IP, and so yeah, could I potentially make money if I went into these? Sure. Would it be essentially like selling out and like feel like nothing to me? 100%. Yeah, I would feel nothing. But I love Pokemon. I've always loved Pokemon. So
yeah. And shout out Eric and Pack Battle for repping that Dragon Ball Z stuff because he loves it. Like it's a huge part of his fandom, and I love it for him. And so he should keep doing it.
Totally. Yeah, it's his truth. Yeah, I love that.
All right, James, what are 2 to 3 Pokemon that don't have a popular ultra modern card that you'd like to see get one? Easy question here for me. Gyarados doesn't have an alt art or an SIR. What is going on? Why is that not a thing?
Wow, why is that not a thing?
It's Gyarados. There's an entire set called Breakpoint. That's a Gyarados set in X and Y. But since then, all we've gotten is full arts and rainbows.
Wow. Yeah, good point. To answer this one, by the way, we just got to call out that our mods are giving us money. I should be giving him money. Like, what are our mods? JT's just having, I mean, what a guy. I almost feel like this is such a good question. And I almost feel like I need to look at like a list of all the Pokemon to really like give it a great answer. I feel like there could be a cool Golduck or Psyduck one, right? I think there's Misty's Psyduck, just got one.
There's a Psyduck 151 and Misty's Psyduck. So there's
right. That's true. So, but Golduck, I don't think has, right? And there was a really cool old dark Golduck where he's got like the beam coming from his head and he's like in the ocean. It almost has Shining Gyarados vibes.
Yes.
I think they could revisit that. For some reason, that Golduck came to mind. Gyarados was such a good call, man. That's so the obvious pick here. I'd have to.
How about Arcanine? Like, what are we doing?
Oh yeah,
give me an SIR Arcanine.
Yeah, good call. A lot you could do with that. Growlithe got one. Hisui and Growlithe got an IR.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. Yeah, man. I want to noodle on this one more. Maybe I come back. Maybe I think on this one and come back to this one. Like
maybe we get some fan art made by Ricky to submit to the Illustrator contest for next year.
Perfect.
All right, Chris, I find it awesome that before 151 got me back into the hobby, I was a fan of a band called Shotgun Sawyer. Full circle moment when I found out Jartum's bro is the singer-guitarist Thunder Chi. Bro, Chris, I didn't know you were a Shotgun fan. Yeah, my older brother is the front man for a band called Shotgun Sawyer. Rock and roll, kind of a blues kind of theme. And yeah, thank you for being a fan of all the Jarman brothers and what they're doing. Appreciate you, Chris.
That's a really wild coincidence. I would love to have been in the room with Chris when he connected those dots.
Yeah, like, wait, what?
What? Totally.
Oh, what other questions here? Johnson plays. If I'm looking to strictly prioritize profit, do I just buy and hold on to sealed product? I'm new to the TCG game for Pokemon. Ooh. Go for it, Ricky.
Johnson plays. I have to put my sales hat on and perform more discovery to answer this question perfectly. Mainly what your risk tolerance is and the amount of time you can dedicate on a day-to-day basis is, and how much time you can dedicate in terms of time horizon. If your risk tolerance is low and you have a bit of money and space and plenty of time and you have no urge to rip boxes that are sitting around in your closet or garage or whatever, then yes, this is the safest way to extract profit from the Pokemon card hobby. It is also often the slowest, and people, I think, a lot of people get into it and think they will hold for these types of time horizons. And by doing shows, I know for a fact that most people do not. They get a little bit of they're up a little bit, and then they want to cash in, or they're bored of the hobby after a year, or a bill came up and they were actually like they're paycheck to paycheck and they probably shouldn't have bought it in the first place, but they gave it a go and now they kind of need the money back and they're still up $100. So, anyway, that's my take.
The question that you asked, the follow-up question about how much time they're willing to invest, Johnson is willing to invest here, is the biggest one, because what we're talking about is what is the difference in your earning potential between an investing play and a business play. And you will very rarely be able to out-earn a business play with an investment, because the difference in your business play is your blood, sweat, and tears, and your time and the work and the lessons you're going to learn and the improvements you're going to make and all that kind of stuff. That it means your returns are going to grow and have larger size over time. So you might have a really great investment play that performs well and is low effort. And maybe that's what you're looking for, Johnson plays. But if you're looking for what is the best way to make money, it's probably to have a business and to churn and burn. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. But I mean, as far as like what Ricky said, hold some sealed product for the long term, the chances of you losing money there, pretty low.
Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there.
Oh, you go ahead. Yeah.
You plug your stream. I'm plugging that I am doing Bay Area shows in September.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
September 14th, I will be doing TCG Now in the East Bay. It's by the East Bay Card Show, so it should be similar, but more TCG focused and not sports focused. So that should be cool. And then the end of September, nothing finalized yet, but a friend of mine is going to host his own first card show. So I'll be doing that in late September. So 2 shows in the Bay Area by the end of the year.
Love it.
Sorry, I think we were doing
this one here for Jordan.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on a theoretical Shinji Kanda Mega Gyarados to mirror the artwork of the Magikarp from Paldea Evolved? Jordan, you're really speaking my language here. That's the kind of card that I would very much like to own. So please send Shinji Kanda an email and ask for that to happen for all of us.
While I completely agree, my devil's advocate to this would be, wouldn't this look a lot like the Giratina SIR? Doesn't the Giratina have
waves? It's waves and water,
Yeah, I mean, maybe they change the color palette. That would be interesting. But I think the shape of Giratina is a little buggy, a little shrimp-like there, and Mega Gyarados a little shrimp-like. So if it's meant to truly mirror the artwork, I almost wonder also with this question, there is a Gyarados in the back of the Magikarp. So I wonder if you could do something that's an extension, like maybe that's what they mean by mirror. In which case, then it's a head-on view, and that would be a very different look. So maybe I'm talking myself out of whatever. I liked my devil's advocate point. I think it would look kind of like Giratina V, but of course I would love to see this. And I'm Shinji Kanda's a genius, obviously, so clearly it would come out great.
Agreed. Do you think the Evolving Skies ETBs are lagging behind the booster block price-wise? I have a few and feel they're undervalued in comparison, not because of price per pack, but as a collector piece. Broke Brick, I think this, my take on this is there's a couple of factors, but a big one is that the Evolving Skies ETB was reprinted more than the booster box. There were a couple of big, big drops of Evolving Skies ETBs at like Costco and other places long after the booster boxes were no longer available on regular retail shelves. And so I think it was just printed quite a bit more. But I mean, yeah, I think it has a chance to catch up. They're just a bit more plentiful. Like when I go to a card show, I see a lot more ETBs than booster boxes of Evolving Skies.
That's a great intel. The thing I would add to this is I like PC ETBs for the very reason of them being exclusive and limited. But in Sword and Shield era, they didn't have the PC stamped promos, which is a really great addition to that product in the Scarlet Violet era. So I don't know if the Sword and Shield PC ETBs will have the same draw in the long run, but I do have, just because I think the art set of the two different PC ETBs, I do own one of each of those for Evolving Skies because I do think they make a great collector's item. So that would be sort of my caveat here. But yeah, I mean, I didn't even know that about the print run on Evolving Skies. It's great insight and makes sense that if the ETB was printed more, that would affect the cost of the sealed box.
Yeah.
Good take.
Read this one for us there, Ricky.
Okay, Alex PokeCR. Hey, hi. You guys think tag teams might come down again? Team Up Booster Box pushing 10K is crazy.
10K.
Is it really pushing 10K? I haven't looked at it in a minute. Do I think they will come down?
I believe that it's pushing 10K. I think that there will be a correction on tag teams, but I think that like a lot of things, they've set in these new highs and they're going to be more expensive even after they kind of hit a flat run, more expensive than they used to be because they have this new huge collector base and they're cool, you know, and people have really decided that they really like them and they are lower population than Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet cards. So they're going to be harder to get. So that's all there is to it.
Yep. Yeah. The thing that came to mind for me, just to echo what you said there, Jake, is they will come down from where they are now, but they will probably not anytime in the foreseeable future come down to their previous highs. Like the new lows will be higher than the old highs is what I think will happen.
Yep.
But if a card doubled now, if something went from 1,000 to 2,000, maybe it comes back down to 1,400 someday, right? I think that it's that sort of reality. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, I agree. Sealed or singles for investment? Asking as an avid collector trying to build some investment as well. I think they're both good, but you should know that sealed is more stable than singles. Singles are more volatile, so your upside potential is larger for singles, but also your downside potential is larger for singles. So it just depends on your risk tolerance, and that's only a question only you can answer for yourself there, Pleasant Poison.
The thing I would add, Pleasant Poison, because Jake is right, but space is a real consideration with sealed in a way that space is basically not for singles. Unless you live in an extremely, extremely tiny place, you can have a near infinite number of singles stored away. The amount of boxes you can safely store, accounting for temperature and whatever else security, very finite. I happen to have a guest bedroom and have a closet that I don't use for my day-to-day life there, and I started putting sealed in there, and I'm essentially at capacity, and I don't have like that absurd a sealed collection. So Jake is right. The singles are more volatile, and your upside and your downside are much more real there. If you have a very strong point of view on singles, like certain singles being undervalued, it'd be easier to build a position in those. It's hard. Yeah. Good luck storing tons and tons of booster box cases unless you have the space. If you do not have the space, you could store 10,000 of the hit from that booster box.
Great point. This is a complex one. I want you to go first there, Ricky, because he's kind of touching on what you mentioned.
Yeah.
Building on Ricky's point about pricing over comps, if most of the market is already inflated, how does a buyer navigate that and still feel confident they're getting fair value? Oof.
Wow. This is a hard-hitting question. And I know this guy's he's a mod. He's super engaged. So thanks for always being engaged. Boy, how does a buyer navigate that and feel confident they're still getting fair value? I think it depends on your goals as a buyer, first and foremost. That's the first thing that comes to mind is like, how much do I care about the value versus just having the card? That would be a first question I would ask myself. If you are planning, if you care about value and you just want it for your own personal collecting purposes, I would be, actually, you know what comes to mind? I would focus on the things that aren't getting hyped right now. That's actually where my mind goes. So what in your collecting goals is not the hot thing right now, which probably eliminates, the old megas, very, very like ultra modern, newest sets, tag teams, obviously, probably the like Delta Species and some of that like low pop graded vintage. I think if you're looking in places that other people aren't, then the market's not as inflated. There are things I occasionally see where I go to price cards for a story sale the other day, and I'm like, oh, that hasn't moved at all in like a long time. There's some cards. I think it was like Sol Galeo Lunala GX for some reason with all the tag team movement. That card hasn't moved. So you look for those sorts of opportunities. This is a tough question. That's the best I got for you.
This is a tough question, and here's I'm gonna kind of send Sumus a rhetorical question back as an answer to this, in the form of, are you buying something that you're going to have an emotional attachment to, Sumus? Because if you are, then you shouldn't really be caring as much about value. But if this is not an emotional decision, if this is meant to be a quasi investment or a decision that is more money forward than emotion forward, then I would say buying anything in this hobby for higher than 90% of its highest ever sales price is a bad decision financially. Anything.
Yeah. Good take.
Jake, you and Marcucci mentioned card values spiking high, yet going down to a new low threshold that stays. How do you guys relate this concept to the discussion on the overall hobby hype and new people entering it? Well, Brendan, I think that you've kind of answered your own question in a way, right? Because the market on a certain card is a representation of the market generally. And what you're alluding to, and what I believe as well, is we have some of these new sets that are coming out that are throwbacks to old sets. We have lots of hype in the hobby. So we're constantly hitting new highs as far as the number of people that are actively collecting Pokemon cards on planet Earth. And as you keep going, like, eventually that number is going to taper and then maybe decrease from its highest ever point. But it's probably never going to go back to the number that it was at its peak in 2016 or 2017, or maybe even 2021, when there was kind of some fever pitch going on. I think we're in a new world, and that happens in other marketplaces too. The stock market, for example, the S&P 500 hits a new high. Maybe it doesn't stay there, but what is it at now? It's at a number that it will most likely never go back to what it was in 2016 or a number of years back. Even if a crash happens, that's a crash related to the highest price ever, not related to the price it was at some distant past.
Yep, good take. We had John Yu asked thoughts on Gold Star Charizard. I'm thinking about pulling the trigger on the PSA 8 version. So there's two ways I could take this question. Thoughts on it value speculation wise versus thoughts on it as a card. As a card, iconic and awesome card.
So nice.
I love Gold Star.
Dragon Frontiers is such a great set.
And it's one of the 3 Delta Species Gold Stars. So like if I had to sell all my Gold Stars, I keep the 3 Delta Species Gold Star crossovers.
Oh, yes. I knew we'd be good friends, Ricky.
Yeah, we got him here.
Oh, yeah, flex for everyone.
Well, yeah, it's flex.
Flex it. Dang.
Yeah.
That's hot.
So I love the card. I love thoughts on the value. I haven't looked at the graded values for these gold stars super recently, so I don't know if they're also in like a weird place. I see the I see Instagram posts and stories where it's like it's a new high, $17,000 or whatever. The PSA 7 sold for more than the PSA 8 used to sell for. What like I see that, so it does seem like it's doing that. I have actually felt for a little while that gold stars are underappreciated and are undervalued, despite them already being relatively expensive, because the number of them is so small, and the number of new ones that will enter, like their population should only go down over time. There's more people losing them to the ether than there are people opening packs and getting PSA 8 contender. New PSA 8 gold star Charizards don't just like enter the universe on a daily basis. So I don't know. I can't talk about PSA 8 specifically from a value standpoint, but I have felt for a while that people were sleeping on gold stars, and I was sort of surprised by it. And anytime I have one at a table when I'm vending, it does not make it to like 2:00 that day.
Yeah. Gold stars are, I think I've talked about this on that podcast with Drew a little while back, and it was like, why are gold stars going so high right now? Well, it's because the entire market is high, and gold stars are the cream of the crop of the Pokemon card hobby, right? They are. I mean, think about the EX era. Okay, the EX era, you could pull a holo, and then you could pull an EX, and then you could pull a gold star, right? Like it's like a triple rarity kind of card, and they're shiny and they're unique card artwork, and so like they're going to garner a high price for a long time. Now, like I mentioned to the previous question, John, if we're talking about an emotion play, Gold Star Charizard is awesome. You should own one. But if we're talking about, what is this going to do in the future? And I'm going to say it has risk. It's a single card, and the market is at all-time highs for these single cards. And so if you have concerns about this card potentially diving below the purchase price that you end up paying for one if you got it today, then maybe you shouldn't buy it, because that risk is real. But it's a great card.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's see. Here's one from Untapped Cards. What population on a PSA 10 do you think makes a card rare and infrequently seen? 1,500, sub 100?
I'm gonna say 300 for me, because I think of some of these full art EXs like Umbreon, Gyarados from Breakpoint, some of the Mewtwo's and stuff. The ones that are up to 500, I see every weekend. But things that are sub 300, I might go a while and not see it.
Yeah. Okay, that's a really measured and specific number. My mind's in a similar place. I think certainly sub 100 is low pop. Anything double digits, single double digits is low pop. But I think sometimes in that sub 100 zone, you get things that are low pop because they're like really obscure and like no one wants them. So like you could grade like some old vintage bulk and you're like, this is pop 8, but like there's way more of that card out there that could grade a 10, and it's just not worth grading, or no one thinks to grade it because it's just bulk from some old set. So there is sort of like that asterisk on sub 100 pops. I like your answer on 300. I got to give that more thought. My thought would be somewhere in that 300 to 500 range. I think once you start to get above 500, it becomes a little less exclusive. I do think somewhere around that 300, 250, somewhere in that zone is like you said, I might not see that again. Which was why from the last stream when I saw the first ed PSA 10 Neo Discovery pack with the Scizor on it, that's like pop 28 or something. So there really just aren't that many mint packs of that out there. And I was like, I might literally never see this again. I have to jump on it. So anyway, a few ways of thinking about that, but yeah.
Love that. I saw this one from before. Okay. I think this is really, really interesting to consider. What do we think about selling something as a set for a markup, non-sequential? example, all 4 CZ chases. Uh, Mikey, I think that it's appropriate to try to sell something as a set because, you feel like you could sell multiple cards all at the same time. I think it's appropriate to do as a seller, but I also think that as a seller, you need to understand that the quantity of people, the marketplace of people that are going to be buying it as a set is just by default smaller than the market of people that are going to be buying them individually. And so you're probably looking at less liquidity, and you need to be okay with that. It might take longer to sell.
Yeah. I don't have a ton to add to that. I think even for sequential, I don't think there should be a huge premium on stuff like this. But there is like sequential is not ultra hard to get, but it is easy to miss. So I understand a 10 or 20% markup there. And then maybe for selling something as a set like this, because you've done the work of collecting those, maybe a 10% markup, but I wouldn't overthink this one, or it wouldn't be a play for me, like building sets to sell them at a markup as a way of getting 10% more margin. Not a thing I would personally invest time in, but I think it's acceptable. Yeah, it's reasonable.
Yeah, because you've done the work to find them and combine them. There's some value to that.
I wonder if this is the same person. So Joe, if this happens to be you, someone last time I saw in the chat did ask about Versus Series, and we didn't talk about it. I know you, Jake, are not as into Japanese in general. Are you familiar with the Versus Series?
Yeah, I've seen. There's a number of the cards that I actually really like. I like that. I like that non-holo Charizard.
Yeah.
There's like a Karen's Tyranitar or something that's really cool, or a Rocket's Tyranitar that's really cool. I like from that.
There's a lot of good stuff. There's a great Gyarados in that set too, actually, and a lot of the art is done by the same artist, so it has a very like cohesive feel. It's Japanese exclusive. Joe did ask this last show. I'm glad we got to it, Joe, because I love Versus Series. I have a hard time picking a favorite set, but this is up there. This is like a top 5 set for me in the pantheon of historical Pokemon sets. I think it's super unique. It's Japanese exclusive. It's rare. It has sort of like the same appeal of the like e-reader era, the kind of thick border and the little logo in the corner and stuff. And the arts are just amazing. A lot of awesome Pokemon featured in it as well. It just like combines a lot of good stuff from other sets. So if you're not familiar with Japanese Versus Series, go check it out. I love it. Yeah. That's my take.
Do you find that some states are more willing to make deals at card shows while others tend to be more firm on prices? States. I don't know if I could say an entire state generally is this way. I mean, I would say it has more to do with the state of the market, as things are trending upwards, people are going to be more firm and unwilling to sell for less because there's that, what they feel like is a high probability of things continuing to go up, and they don't want to miss out on that growth and value. But I wouldn't say it has much to do with certain states. What would you say, Ricky?
I haven't vended in different states at this point. I have sold online to other states and not really noticed a difference. I've watched vendor POVs of people in different states and not noticed a huge difference other than I think there's some sort of underrated markets. Like the market Coop is in Virginia. I think Virginia's like a relatively small state. I sell kind of a surprising amount to Virginia. So I think there's like strong community there. I notice I ship a lot there at card shows while others tend to be more. Yeah, it's just not one that I can speak to too much, though. I will say even like within the Bay Area, you go an hour north or an hour east or 30 minutes south, and like what the vibe is of what people buy and the kind of money they throw around and what they throw it at can be completely different, even like show to show, city to city. So yeah, like you can go to East Bay Card Show in Concord and sell a lot of slabs, and then you could go somewhere in the South Bay and only sell singles out of your binders, and then you go to Hayward or Newark and it's a vendor social. There's like no collectors aren't buying anything. It's just vendors trading with each other. It's just a trade night that people paid for. And you go up to Fairfield and people are mostly buying like mid-end single. Like it's completely can vary location to location. So wouldn't surprise me if if people who have done this sort of vending did experience like a difference from city to city or state to state. I think it can be as actually as specific. It's maybe even more specific to city, because I know like people talk about LA differently than they talk about up here. So
Yeah.
It's probably a city thing more than a state thing, honestly. The difference
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Different metro areas are going to treat things totally differently. Job markets are going to impact that, just economic status for sure.
Yeah.
Do you want to just tag on maybe one or two more questions there, Ricky?
Yeah, let's see. We are getting some. Oh, we're getting a bunch in now. Oh, everyone's got a question now. Okay, Jimmy. Oh, we're just gonna pick some that look reasonable. Jimmy asks, will either of you eventually try to open an online shop and obtain a distro partnership?
Yeah, I think there's a world in which I pursue a distro relationship. Yeah.
Same. I have started and stopped oyamatrading.com multiple times. I don't know about having the time to manage it right now with everything else in my personal life and whatnot and professional life. But yeah, that's I could definitely see it someday. Slam asks, hey guys, for each of you individually, which is the most liquid of each type of the following? Single card, slab, sealed product. So for the most liquid of each categories lately for you guys. Liquid. The thing that sells the most that shows is like $10 to $20 binder cards. So if we're talking about volume of transactions, that's the most liquid thing, period.
I think I'm going to give him some specific answers here, and hopefully
sure.
Well, single. I've said this many times. That stained glass birds card goes in and out constantly. Slab, I'm going to say Lugia V PSA 10. And sealed product, I'm going to say Evolving Skies Elite Trainer Box. Most liquid for me, those three.
Nice. Oh, I'll add one. I'll jump on the specific train. Crown Zenith ETBs, super liquid. If I come to the show with them, I probably don't leave with them. Anything else? Yeah, Greninja EX from Twilight in its various forms, quite liquid, tends to sell. Yeah. What else? We got another one from Blast Boost. Oh yeah, I think I saw a similar question that's from Blast Boost. What set in this generation is sort of like Evolving Skies-esque? Like what's like maybe the standout set from Scarlet Violet?
It's a totally different marketplace. Blast Boost. Evolving Skies was like the king in a down market, and so that's why it was such an incredible exception. But because we're in an up market, all of these boxes have already made enormous leaps in value, and many of them are still in print. It's like almost unheard of in a lot of ways. And so it's hard to compare, not because the sets are significantly disparate or one is so much stronger or less strong than the others, but because the market is so different. I think that they're going to continue to move at a similar pace until things maybe slow down, and then maybe we can see a couple of winners that really stand out. That's my take, probably.
I mean, you asked about Booster Box specifically. The low-hanging fruit here is Prismatic Evolutions as a set, like the ETBs, I guess, or the booster bundles. Yeah, Paldea Evolved, I think, is a good set. I think it's getting another sort of like redistribution or reprint run coming up here, but I think it's under loved set. 151 obviously doesn't have a booster box, but those special, I mean, obviously like the UPCs and stuff. Yeah, I'm just listing a lot of them. I'm not actually giving one set. I just listed 1/3 of the entire era. So yeah.
All right. Well, maybe we wrap it there, Ricky, unless you
Sure.
have hard-hitting questions. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back with more scheduled Midweek Machamps 2 weeks from today. I'll be back at my home with my beautiful background, and we can dive into more of these. So if you have more questions, save those for next time. We'll have a fresh new topic, and I'll have done 2 big card shows between now and then. So I'm excited to kind of get my feet back on the ground and see what's going on at these shows. So, Ricky, any final words from you, my friend?
No, it's great hanging out with you, Jake. It's great hanging out with the chat. Everyone's just been awesome. This is super fun, and I'm excited to do another one in 2 weeks.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. It's always a great time, and see you in a few weeks, everyone.
Peace.